I built a campaign that should have worked. And I mean, it did everything right. Great ads, great offer, $100 a day in spend, leads coming in, and an AI sitting there answering every single one in seconds. So nothing ever went cold. The exact machine I built for a living, running clean, and it still failed. And the reason it failed is the first thing I wish every business owner understood. Because it really decides whether your marketing works before you ever spend a dollar. So, quick context on me. I have worked with over 45 businesses, ranging from 6 to 8 figures at this point. Consulting, research, full campaigns, all of it. And 20 of those, I did not just advise, I built and run the marketing myself. Roofers, painters, cleaners, solar, wellness, lawyers, pharmacy, SaaS, tech, you name it. Some of them grew fast, some of them stalled. And one of them, the one I just told you about, I had to walk away from. And across all of it, the same 5 lessons keep showing up over and over again. So that's what this is. 5 things that actually decide who grows and who just spends money. Let's get into it. Lesson 1. The market decides, not the machine. So that campaign, the home service company out in California, solar. And like I said, the machine was perfect. Ads were pulling, leads were flowing, follow up instant. And the leads just would not move. Heavy saturation in that market, competitors outspending everybody. And the offer we were running was basically a price offer, right? Which pulled in the wrong crowd. People who were not serious. And then they would not even pick up the phone when you call or even when you text. So we dug into how the winners in that market were actually getting people to commit. You know what it was? A call center. Hounding people, calling over and over and over, high pressure until they cracked and said yes, or even picked up their phone. That is what that arena rewarded. And I wasn't willing to do that to people at that time. So we parted ways. And I'll be honest with you, I was young and hungry in my business back then. I did the mechanics right. But looking back, the offer was probably wrong, and we never got enough lead volume to really even know. That is the market talking, and I was not listening yet. Now, let me give you the flip side though, because this is the part that actually taught me that lesson. Client I still have till today. Over a year now. Small town in Michigan, prestigious little town, but the competition there is brutal, and it was tough. We rebuilt his offer and his campaign. I am not exaggerating. 10 times. 10. Out of those, only 2 worked. Lead flow came in, he closed deals. Great. And then it just died out of nowhere, especially after the Andromeda update. Same offer, new creatives, everything and nothing. And then numbers looked fine. Unit click through rate above 1.3%, CPMs healthy, everything I would normally want to see. Machine was flawless. Still no leads. And I want to explain what I think was actually happening there because I did not have the words for it at that time. There is a loop that can poison an ad account. The algorithm finds a pocket of people who click, low intent scrollers, accidental tabs, sometimes straight up bots. Some of them fill out the form as well too, and Meta reads that form fill as a win. So it goes great. More of those. And it spends more of your budget hunting down more of those exact people. So your metrics look healthy the whole time because technically things are getting clicked and filled out. But the quality is actually rotting underneath and nobody real is coming through. And this is not my theory. The fraud detection people describe this exact thing. When invalid clicks build up, the algorithm starts treating bots and fake users as your ideal customer and goes looking for more of them. It is a negative feedback loop. And you know what? I'll come back to this later with actual numbers. Okay. So we are sitting there racking our brains on Meta. And then we go look at his Google local service ads, and they are crushing it. Every single day, hits coming in. So we thought, wait, what if we take the same lead magnet and just move it to Google search? Because we have built this lead magnet around the single biggest hurdle everybody has in that home service space. We get out in front of that thing and address it up front. On Meta, people were giving us their info, but they were not ready to commit. We moved it to Google search, night and day. Lead quality totally flipped. It was not even close. And that is the lesson. Same machine, same lead magnet, same everything. On Meta, I am interrupting somebody on the couch who was not thinking about him, which is how it goes. On Google, I am meeting somebody who is actively looking to solve that problem right now. Different intent, different market. Now we run for Meta for brand awareness, so he stays visible and Google carries the intent. But the market picked that, not me. Oh, and quick aside while we're here, because it matters later. On Meta, the first thing I like to personally look at is unique click-through rate before anything else. And I want to be specific because there are like 4 different click-through metrics in there, and they all say different numbers. I'm not talking about CTR all, which counts likes and comments and see more. I mean unique click-through. If that is above 1.3% for me, people are stopping and actually clicking. The ad is alive. Below that, the ad is dead. Go fix the creative. That is my first check every single time. So, lesson 1. The market decides, not the machine. Before you fall in love with your build, go ask how this market actually says yes and where these people actually are. Which brings me right into lesson 2. Marketing works for every business. And on this, I will happily argue with you. Okay? I hear this constantly. My business is different. Marketing does not work for my business. And almost every time, that is just not true. It is one of 2 things. Either you have not found the channel where your ideal customer lives, or you have not run enough volume to actually know yet. That is it. Those are the 2. And here's the trap everybody falls into. They try a little bit of marketing on one platform for a few weeks. It does not hit. And they go, see, does not work for my business. But that was not a test. That was a coin flip. You did not learn anything. You just got a small sample and you called it science. You have to run enough volume that it negates luck. That's the whole thing over there. So let me make that real. Cold email. 5,000 a day to your ideal customer for 30 days. That is the bare minimum in my opinion. And do that math with me. 5,000 a day for 30 days is 150,000 emails. Now, that is a sample size. Now you actually know something. And when you run that kind of volume, the answer gets obvious because there are really only a few things it can be. Either your copy sucks, so go fix the copy, or your offer sucks, so go fix the offer. Or your people are generally not on that channel, which in B2B, honestly, is pretty rare. They are usually there. Or, and people forget this one, your deliverability is shot. Your mailboxes are burnt and you're not even landing in the inbox, so you are not testing anything. You're just talking to a spam folder. So there's a bunch you have to actually track to know which one it is. But you cannot diagnose any of that off 200 emails. You just can't. And real quick on that number, because it moves. When I got into this game 3 years ago, 1,000 a day was plenty. That was the standard. Today, 5,000, personally. That is how much has changed in a couple of years. So if somebody told you a number back then, go check whether it still holds now. My honest take. Meta ads, same principle. Put in enough budget to guarantee yourself 50 to 100 real conversations inside 30 days. Not clicks, not impressions, conversations. Actual interactions with a potential customer. Now, this is where the answer stops being luck. Flyers, same thing. We're talking thousands, not 200 on a Saturday. And you have to meet them where they actually are, not where it is convenient for you. Sometimes that's Meta. Sometimes it is Google, like my Michigan guy. And sometimes if you're selling into a more sophisticated commercial buyer, it is not a lead form at all. It might be brand awareness. It might be cold email. It might be LinkedIn. It might be direct mail. Totally different game, totally different room. So you cannot tell me marketing does not work. Look around you. America is arguably the best marketed place on earth. That is not an accident. That is marketing. It is that powerful. You just have not found your channel yet, or you have not done enough of it to find out. All right, lesson 3. Marketing exposes your business. And this is the one that stings because it has nothing to do with your ads. Really. Marketing shines a light on every single weak spot in your business. And I mean everything: your sales, your operations, your follow up, even your product, and how you actually deliver it. If any of that is soft, marketing does not hide it. Marketing exposes it because now leads are coming in and every crack has traffic running over it. Tell you what, let me tell you about a pharmacy I consulted with and did work for as well too, because this one taught me more than almost anything, literally. So when we come in, they're doing about 50,000 a month on their best days. And that is with basically no marketing. Some attempts at organic social, a little bit of B2B placement, and foot traffic. That is it. So, first thing, before we ever touch ads, we go do the foundation. We implement SEO. We stand up a proper website for them, and we optimize it so it does not just speak to Google, it speaks to the LLMs. ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, Copilot. Because that is where a real chunk of search is happening now, and almost nobody local is set up for it. Kind of crazy. And I am not just saying that off vibes. There's a company called SOCI, I believe. It's SOCI. They do localized marketing software. And back in January, they put out something called the 2026 Local Visibility Index. They looked at over 350,000 businesses all across about 2,700 brands. So that is not a small sample, right? And here's what they found. ChatGPT recommended 1.2% of those locations. 1.2. Gemini was 11%. Perplexity, 7.4. Now compare that to Google's local 3-pack, where those same brands showed up 35.9% of the time. So getting recommended by ChatGPT is roughly 30 times harder than showing up in the Google Map pack. And here's the part that should really get you. Only about 45% of the brands winning in traditional local search also showed up in the AI results. So you can be dominating Google Maps and be completely invisible the second somebody opens ChatGPT and asks who the best plumber near them is. Two different systems. So go look it up yourself. SOCI, that's SOCI 2026 Local Visibility Index. That is the gap we walked into with this pharmacy, right? And I am telling you, that piece alone was bigger than their sales at the time. That took them from 50 to about 65, 70,000 a month before a single ad run. Then we turned the ads on and the ads work. That pushed them to 100,000 a month right from there, just with the ads and the SEO all combined in there. Great, right? So naturally, we try to scale. More spend. Let's go. Let's do this. And nothing. Revenue would not move. And that right there, that's the tell. When you put more money in the top and nothing more comes out the bottom, your problem is not the ads. It is somewhere downstream. So we stopped scaling. We literally capped the spend because why keep pouring water into a bucket with a hole in it, right? Makes no sense. So we do the x-ray. And what we found was not a marketing problem at all. First thing, these are pharmacists. They're not salespeople. They never got trained in sales. And honestly, I mean, why would they, right? They know medicine. That's their craft. So a lead comes in and they are the ones who have to answer it in between everything else that is also going on within the pharmacy, right? And the second thing, and this is the part that gets me, their foot traffic was high, so demand was up. So they are constantly consulting people standing right in front of them, which means the leads that come through sit. And even when they did pick it up, they would start a conversation on the phone or on the messages, and then a customer walks in and then they have to go. So the conversation will be dropped halfway through. Nobody picks it back up because they end up forgetting, right? So then what we did is we installed a system so we can actually see the messages going back and forth. And oh my God, some of the things we found in how customers were being handled, I'm telling you, if you have never actually read what your team says to your customers, go read it. And go one further. Put a recorder on the calls and listen to how your team talks to people on the phone. It is mind boggling. Not because anybody is intentionally being malicious, they're just busy and untrained. But you will be shocked. Anyways, and here is what I mean about it exposing everything. It was not just the sales, it was operations too. They could not fulfill on some requests because they did not have the stock, which fair, no pharmacy is going to sit on every drug just in case. But that is the point. The marketing surfaced it. We could suddenly see exactly where the business could not carry what the ads were bringing. Now the fix. And this took time. It took us 3 months of me going back and forth with the owner before he finally said, okay, fine. I will hire somebody and we will train them and try them for 30 days. 3 months. That's how long it took. And I get it. Hiring is scary. It is payroll. It is a real commitment. One person. That is it. The entire job is the phone and the messages. Nothing else. And to the owner's credit, he trained that person properly. Took 2 weeks with them before they went live. First week, the difference was night and day. Insane, really. Leads getting answered immediately instead of sitting. Somebody says they will call back, and instead of just hoping, this person follows up the next day or almost immediately. Every conversation actually finishes. The owner saw it inside of 7 days and went, yeah, this is happening. This person stays. Same ad spend, not one extra dollar. They went from 100,000 a month to 160,000 a month. 60 grand difference within a month from one hire. The ads had already been doing their job the whole time. The business just could not catch what the ads were throwing. So here's the hard part. And I say this with love. Owners love to say the leads are bad. And look, to be fair, sometimes lead quality is generally off. I am not pretending otherwise. But most of the time, we cannot control lead quality past a point. The market brings the lead. Our job is to qualify it and get it to you. After that, it is on you to work it and close it. And if you cannot, that is not a lead problem. That's a sales problem, or an ops problem, or a follow-up problem, or a fulfillment problem, or honestly, sometimes it is a product problem. Sometimes the service just is not that good and nobody has told you. And marketing did not cause any of that. Marketing just held up the mirror. Lesson 4. And this one will humble you faster than anything else on this list. Take your feelings out of marketing. The market does not care how you feel about your offer. And listen, generally, I have been guilty of this. I still catch myself now and then still doing the same thing. So this is not me pointing fingers at you. It's at all of us. But I see it constantly. An owner falls in love with some idea for the offer because it means something to them personally. I had a guy, roofing. He wanted to give away a children's book. And the book genuinely mattered to him. It was meaningful. It shaped him. And I had to sit there and go, brother, they want a roof. Or somebody wants to lead with 10% off and they think that is a big deal. It is not. It is not enough to make anybody move. Because here's the thing nobody wants to hear. Your customers do not care about you. They do not know you. They are not thinking about you. They care about their problems themselves and whether you can make it go away. That's the whole list. And when you build the offer around what you love, or you make it clever or complicated, or you write it for the sophisticated techie person because that is who you picture, you're losing people. I would say half easily. Maybe 3/4 of the people who would have actually bought from you gone because you wrote it for you. My mentor, Tim Barry, drove this into me, this specific statement. They only care about themselves. So give them exactly what they want. That's it. And if what they want is hard for you to give, then find a way to give it and load enough value in it that it still makes sense on your end. But do not sit there and negotiate with the market about what they should want, right? Because you will run that campaign you thought was so smart, so clever, so you, and you will get almost nothing. And it's not the marketing that does not work. It is that you put your feelings where the data was supposed to go. The market will humble you. Let it. Okay, last one. And if you take one thing out of this whole video, take this one, because this is the thing I check before every single build. Your growth marketing rests on three things: offer, funnel, and the math. All three. Get them right and you win. Miss one and the whole thing quietly leaks. So one, the offer. Picture what is actually happening on Meta. Somebody's on the couch. They're scrolling. They're not thinking about roofing or cleaning or their gutters or accounting or whatever. They're not thinking about you at all. They do not know you exist. And you pop up in the middle of that. So, what are you going to put in front of them that makes them stop scrolling? It has to be a no-brainer. It has to be so obviously valuable that they go, wait, hold on. And your thumb stops. If they have to think about whether it is worth it, you're already lost. If you have to explain why it is a good deal, newsflash, it is not a good deal. And it is not about slashing your price. It is about stacking the value so high that it looks silly to say no. What can you include that costs you a little and is worth a lot to them? What is the thing they are actually afraid of that you could just handle for them up front? That is an offer. Two, the funnel. And I do not mean a lead form, because this is where most people stop. They think, I ran a lead form ad, somebody filled it out, I got a lead. Yay! No, you got a name. And name is not a lead. And honestly, you don't even know if that name is real. There are click farms out there. There are fake leads that come through, junk submissions, people mashing the keyboard to get past the form. And again, this is not me being paranoid. There's a company called Lunio. They do invalid traffic and click fraud detection. And they put out a 2026 global invalid traffic report. Their number for Meta is 8.2% of traffic coming back invalid. And I want to be fair here, because that number gets thrown around like Meta is the worst offender. It isn't. Google came in at 7.57, and the average across every channel they looked at was 8.51. So Meta is actually on the lower end. The problem is scale. 8% of a platform that size is an astronomical number of fake clicks. But here's the one that matters for you and me. Lunio found that lead gen businesses deal with about 32% higher invalid traffic rates than regular transactional advertisers. 32% higher. If you're running lead forms, you're in the worst category for this. And that is before you count the people who tapped by accident or handed over a throwaway number just to grab the freebie. Instant forms are so frictionless. 2 taps and it is pre-filled straight from their profile that a bot fills out as easily as a real customer does. And I'll say the obvious. Lunio sells fraud protection. So of course, they are measuring this. But they published the methodology, and honestly, the number being lower than I expected is what makes me believe it. So do with it what you will. But before you qualify anybody, you sometimes have to verify they are even a real human being. Which brings me right to the point. The goal is a qualified lead, and that means the ad is only step one. Step one. That's it. Everything after that is where the actual verification and qualification happens. Are you dropping them into an AI that texts them and asks 3 questions? Are you sending them to a short survey that tells you if they're even the right fit? Are you getting them onto a calendar? What are the data points you need before you or your salesperson spends real time on this person? Because not everybody who wants your service is a good customer for you either. And I'm sure you all know this. It's the truth. There's a person who you would rather have, and your funnel's whole job is to find that person and let the rest fall away. My mentor says it, and this comes straight out of Sandler sales training. Qualify the qualified fast and disqualify the unqualified equally as fast. Equally as fast. Because the time you waste on someone who was never going to buy is time stolen from someone who was. 3, the math. And this is where people quietly go broke while their revenue is going up from running ads. Everybody is staring at cost per lead, cost per lead, cost per lead. The 8-figure businesses I've worked with barely look at it. They look at cost per sale or cost per acquisition. Because think about it. If it takes you 5 leads to close 1 customer and each lead costs you $20, your cost per lead is 20. Sure. But your cost to actually acquire a customer is 100. That is the real number. That is the one that pays your bills or does not. And here is the part almost nobody says out loud. So I'm leaving you with it. Your price that you're selling your product or service at has to survive that math. Say you sell something for $20 and your margin on it is 10. There is no version of that world where that carries $100 acquisition cost. None. You would need your cost per lead down around $5 just to make $5 a sale. And in this day and age on Meta, good luck. I have watched this happen on a real consult. Different numbers, same story. Your revenue is climbing. You are spending more. And you are sitting there going, where's all the money going? It went into acquisition. The math never worked. Now flip it. $2,000 offer, 50% margin, cost per lead is $150, and it still takes 5 leads to close 1. So $750 to acquire on $1,000 of margin. Now the math breathes. Now you can scale because every customer pays for itself and the next one. Same mechanics, completely opposite outcome. And the only thing that changed was whether the price could survive the math. So that is the stool with the 3 legs. The offer decides if they stop. The funnel decides who actually gets through. And the math decides whether any of it was worth doing. If you're building offers, you have to build them backwards from that math, not forwards from what you feel like charging. Now, let me be straight with you before we wrap. None of these 5 can save a market that does not want what you sell or an offer that is genuinely wrong. Marketing multiplies what is there. It can't invent it. But if the market is real and the offer is real, these 5 are the difference between spending and growing. I have watched it play out across all 45. So there it is. The market decides. Marketing works for everyone who finds their channel and their volume. Marketing exposes your business. Take your feelings out of it, and offer, funnel, math has to survive together. 45 businesses, 5 lessons, and every one of them is free to use starting today. And if you want to know which of these is quietly leaking in your business, I built a free audit that walks through your marketing and shows you your blind spots. Takes a few minutes, link is in the description. Go find out what you're missing. And if you want to see lesson 3 in the wild, I called 7 local businesses as a brand new customer and started a timer. What happened is exactly what we just talked about. That video is right here.